this is the panel that you would find it on. My name is Aaron Sagers. I am from Sci-Fi and the Sci-Fi Wire site, and I'm excited to be doing the Guardians of the Galaxy panel. Any Ravager fans out there? Wow, that was really weak. One more time. Who's seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2? And you might recognize these cats I'm about to bring out on stage. I want you to make a lot of noise. So much noise that we bring the house down. And then we're going to throw it to some questions from the audience. We're going to have a grand old time. All right, so without further ado, you know him as Martinex from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Give it up for Mr. Michael Rosenbaum!
I love these microphones. You can just do all sorts of positions with them.
All right, and Michael Rooker is on stage. Give it up for Yanu himself. And there's John Gunn, who plays Dragon, and Phil, make some noise for WPA.
God damn it, Rooker, I got a bad back. You know that.
You know it's going to be a weird panel when the panelists are fighting with one another.
He loves that stuff.
He likes it rough stuff.
Yeah, take this, Rooker's an asshole.
I remember that. That question was terrible. I want to remember it.
There will be a quiz at the end, so yeah, make some notes here. Welcome to DragonCon, guys. How you doing? Actually, the first question that I have for you guys is, look, I mean, DragonCon is a staple of Atlanta, but you know what? Marvel is now also a staple of Atlanta. So I'm just kind of curious, like, what is it about this town that makes it such a good nerd town and really just a good place to film and hang out? Rooker's been here before. He shot Walking Dead in the neighborhood.
Yep.
What is it about Atlanta? Why do you guys like Atlanta?
Why do we like Atlanta?
Yes, it is a fair question, Rooker. I'm not letting you off the hook with it.
Rooker's just learning that we filmed in Atlanta.
Yeah, we did, right? We did film this in Atlanta, did we not? Yeah, we filmed it in Atlanta. I like Atlanta. Yeah, Atlanta's good, right? It's a good place. Yeah, we love Atlanta. That's where we're at, right?
Yes, that's it.
I like Atlanta. Roll Tide.
I was hoping for a little bit more.
What did you say, Rooker?
There's a big game coming up, y'all! Jiggly butt, jiggly butt, jiggly butt. That's my girl.
I don't even know what is happening here.
Thank you.
Private communication.
All right. Yeah, so that's a weird start. So actually,
Jiggly Butt is a new character in a graphic novel that someone's doing. somewhere out there in the graphic novel world. Superhero, Jiggly Butt. The power is the butt. God's sake, woman.
I find that if I just let him go sometimes, he just needs a nap afterwards. Okay, Michael Rosenbaum, you're new to the Guardians crew. You came in as Martinex. Talk about sort of the entrance. How were you welcomed on set with all these other guys who had already been there?
We're all friends. We've been like hanging out for years and years. And James Gunn, one of my best friends, called me up and goes, "So listen, man, there's a small part in Guardians." And I go, "I'm in." No, but there's this part, and it could become bigger, but we don't know. I just like, it's just cool. I'm in. I'll do it. It's like, well, you haven't read the script. I don't care. I'm in. I'd love to be a part of it. I love the movie. I'd love to do it. You'll be working with Storm. I'm in. I told you. I'm in. This is awesome. And I get to work with these guys.
You'll be working with Rooker.
Well, jiggly butt. I don't know if I can do it. I mean, for me, it was a dream come true.
Well, we did have a scene together. We had a scene together.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been in the DC universe for so long. It was nice that coming over to Marvel, and they treated me really nicely. It was really sweet. Great bunch of people.
Yeah. Well, welcome. We're happy to have you in the Marvel.
Thank
Marvel
you.
Those were
world.
some of the funnest days on set, too.
Yeah, we had fun.
Yeah, because there was a bunch of people around, you know, like...
Well, Sly, every day, it was like, I had these dots on my head, so, you know, because Martin next day had to CGI me later, and so Sly goes, who are you supposed to be, man? You know, Pippi Longstocking with the dots on your face? What are you doing? I go, I don't know, and we would sing these 70s love songs, and James hated it. So I would sing, you know, this theme from Over the Top that Stallone was in the arm wrestling movie. Meet me halfway, goes, across the sky. And we would laugh, I was like, yes, Stallone likes my shitty music. That was cool.
John, I mean, you know, you were doing double duty on this movie because, you know, you were performing as Rocket, and then suddenly Kraglin has a lot more to do. Which ended up being more of a challenge for you because, look, you had already done both before, but you had to add more to Kraglin all of a sudden, like flesh out that character.
Yeah. Well, the degree of difficulty is always, for Rocket, is always lessened a little bit by the fact that if I screw it up, they can change it. Yeah, it was pretty interesting doing both. It's really tricky in the scenes that they're both in. That both Kraglin and Rocket are in, which there were like 4 different scenes. And it would just be very tedious to shoot those scenes. We'd have to shoot around both sides of it. And for me, you know, just as an actor, it took an extra amount of focus. You know, you need focus all the time anyway when you act. But yeah, it was, I was definitely very pleasantly surprised by Kraglin's expanded role in his arc.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. And Karen, I know you're taking notes down there. With Mike.
I'm throwing a picture for Rooker.
Care to share with the rest of the class?
Can we see the picture, please?
I feel like I'm in trouble.
Yeah, let's see the picture.
What is the picture of?
It's of Rooker.
It's Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins.
It's an uncanny resemblance too.
I'm quite the drawer.
Pretty beautiful.
You are an artist for sure. How come I only got 3 fingers? I have no toes at all.
Karen, for Nebula, you know, you had a lot more to do in this movie as well, in the sequel, and it's kind of funny because like we get to see more of an emotional side of her, but she's still like this pissed off person that just wants to get into a fight a lot.
Yeah, that's her default.
Yeah, what was sort of the balance? She's like, okay, I need to show a little bit more softer side, but still be really angry. Was that a difficult balance to strike for you?
Well, no, because I think that the emotion was coming out of why she's so angry all the time. So like, it was just really interesting for me to add dimension to the character. Well, James did in the writing, and then I just delivered it. But yeah, I was just so excited to finally show the why as to why she's such an evil supervillain. It was exciting.
Yeah. Now, were you afraid though, like, by the time we get to the, you know, part 3 or other appearances of her, that she's never going to be a softie type of character who
I
wants
don't
a hug?
think so. No, that's not in her makeup, I don't think. She's, you know, an angry Clint Eastwood person with some valid motivation. But she's still pretty angry.
Angry Clint Eastwood person.
Yeah.
I like that. Now, Rooker, there was actually a behind the scenes extra that was just released on the DVD where you were snoring during the Yondu funeral scene. You passed out during your own damn funeral scene, my friend.
Yeah, I did.
It was clearly an emotional moment. Well, you know, Michael Rosenbaum said that he was sitting next to you at the premiere, and you were actually tearing up.
Dude, I was
scene.
at the premiere for Guardians of the Galaxy. I was sitting there, and at the scene where if you haven't seen it, too bad. Well, Yondu dies. What? I looked to my right. I'm just looking around and just staring at people's reactions, and all of a sudden I noticed Rooker sitting like 8 people to my right. And I look over, and he's just like. You were getting emotional about yourself. That's you really loved your performance, and it was that.
Was?
I didn't see you cry. I didn't see tears coming out.
I think it's more important to almost cry.
I think you're right. But you're trying not to cry, but you were sitting.
Trying not to cry is way more important than actually bawl. Anybody can cry.
But the face you made really made me sad.
I can make you cry right now.
You made me cry, my back hurts. Tackled me.
You know what? Look at this. You don't see this, y'all, but it says, please remember, you may be on DCTV right now, y'all. Y'all are on DCTV.
And a smiley
What is
face.
DCTV?
It's sort of, they have their own like channel that broadcasts
Is
throughout
that
the
right?
hotels.
And it says Michael Rooker,
That's you.
Guardians of the Galaxy,
That was the movie you're in.
Taserface sends his regards. Did you get that
Is that the
too?
name of this panel?
I don't name the panels, but yes, that is the name of the panel.
So
Guardians of the Galaxy,
Taserface says hello to everybody here, just so you know. He's a good man.
Yeah, he's saying hi. Speaking of saying hi,
So did you have a question for me or something?
you know, not really. not really.
We just wanted you to define the word non sequitur.
Non sequitur. Michael Rosenbaum.
That wasn't me.
It's a
I know
really.
who drew this. God, you Guns are always drawing stuff like this, I swear to God.
Well, we won't say what that is a picture of.
Oh my God, there's a number.
We will throw it to an audience question.
For a good time.
Yeah, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. We're going to throw it to an audience question.
Hey, we're
gonna
on
throw it over here.
DCTV. You be careful what you draw down there.
Hello, question over here. Quickly ask a question.
We're going to throw it out to the audience. Go for it, man.
Hello!
Not so loud.
My bad. So, reading comic books, when someone dies, they don't really die. Rooker, would you be cool with Yondu coming back?
So let me jump in right there. I know he's probably going to say something, but
Is that a weird speech impediment that you have?
I was hearing my voice and it confused me. I'm sorry.
it was like dramatic tension.
I enjoyed that. I'm sorry.
It was.
I understand that. The reverberations and stuff like that with the sound systems in some of these places are really kind of messed up. And sometimes we can't even understand or hear each other up here. That's true. You've experienced that, right? Yeah.
Well, that's proof I'm not dumb.
No, you don't. Yeah, it's okay. You're fine. And to answer your question, sure, why not?
I like it. Thanks.
Let me just say, let's avoid any.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's avoid any questions that are going to be asking about future movies or appearances by these guys, because they can't answer it anyhow. So let's just like avoid it.
You ask whatever the hell you want to ask.
I just want to let the fine people
know where
on
we
Marvel
are.
know I tried.
This is Atlanta.
He knows what city he's in now, so that's an improvement.
Do you think James Gunn would tell us anything, especially Rooker?
Well, guys, just don't tell Rooker.
It's like a weird world though now, where anything you say, even as a joke, just like a throwaway line, then lives on the internet. Do you feel that kind of weirdness of like, oh, I gotta be careful about that joke because it's a rumor.
If I ever see an article that's written that says Sean Gunn and it's got the word like reveal or exclusive or something, I literally panic. I'm like, I don't want to reveal anything. I don't, try not to reveal anything ever. I could get fired, but yeah, it's weird.
He'd fire you? You're wrong, brother. Would he fire you?
Sean Gunn reveals sibling rivalry. Why do the brothers hate one another? Next question.
Yes, this question's for the incomparable Michael Rooker. I wanted to ask, the line, "I'm Mary Poppins, y'all," has now entered the American lexicon and spawned many cosplays and apparently artwork. Wanted to ask how that line came about, and have you been surprised by the reaction to it?
James Gunn wrote it. And yes.
Good.
Well, I mean, actually, we got to have a little bit more fun between Craglan and Nebula as well. Talk a little bit about you guys performing together.
They had fun?
Well, I don't know. I was gonna say, was it fun?
Yeah, it was fun.
I
Yeah.
got a cheeky monologue about Thanos.
I know.
Goes over well.
I like that scene. Yeah, it's like it was fun because I got to not only play the scene, but I also got to watch Karen do that monologue a bunch of times, which is awesome. And so it was cool to like be part of that, and then just have my throwaway line at the end. That's fun. So that's one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Yeah, that was definitely one of my favorites to shoot as well, just because Craglan comes in and kind of takes a serious moment and completely makes a joke out of it, which is so Guardians of the Galaxy-esque, I think.
Yeah.
Style of humor, you know?
Yeah. Well, there was also, you guys got to work with the Hoff. You got to work with David Hasselhoff.
Yes.
Right.
90% of these people out here don't know who the hell you're talking about.
Everybody saw the Guardians video, right? With the Hoff?
Guardians Inferno.
Who was the best dancer out of that group?
For God's sake.
Was it Rooker?
Oh no, I didn't do that. I didn't do.
Did you didn't dance
I
at
didn't
all?
do a lot of dancing at all. No, I was just pretending like I was playing the organ.
All right.
Batista had some.
Batista had some moves.
Yeah,
Like,
Batista could move.
you know,
Yeah.
you had some moves.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Come on,
yeah.
you
I got
had
some moves.
Yeah, sure.
You got moves.
Let it not be said.
Can we see some of those moves now?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give the guy a pass on having to dance on stage.
Journey of man.
Another question.
Okay, this is a hypothetical question for you guys as actors. And Karen, you've already answered this, so you can either answer it again or not as you would like. Hypothetically, if you could play any role ever, past, present, future, realistic, not, what would you want to play?
Get deep.
I'm
Deep
gonna
question.
answer again. Kind of.
Karen, why don't you start us off and answer?
Yeah.
Okay, Jack Nicholson's role in The Shining. I want to do it so badly. Sean Gunn as Shelley Duvall's character. That would be great.
Karen, you want to be Jack Nicholson? You want to be Jack Nicholson from The Shining? All right,
Yeah.
repeat after me in your best acting voice as Jack
Okay.
Nicholson. Wendy, darling, light of my life, I'm not going to hurt you. Can you
Oh,
do
that
that?
was so good.
Come on, do it. Fucking break out.
Yeah.
Wait, what is it? Wendy?
Darling.
Wendy? No, that was.
That was good.
I was feeling it.
I'm not going to hurt you. Say it. I'm not going to hurt you.
I'm not gonna hurt you.
I'm just...
I'm not getting the role.
Do an imitation.
I just wanted to hear it. It was
in
in
the
my
new
head.
version of Shining.
I'm gonna have to do it as a female, I think. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Rosenbaum.
I have an answer. I don't have an answer yet. I'm still thinking about it.
I'd love to be Rocky. I'd need a better body, but I'd probably be Rocky.
Is this for television or film? Anything you want. Anything you want, guys.
I think I'd love to do Rear Window. I'd like to do the serious role of Rear Window.
I can see that.
Can we choose for Rooker? Can we come together with a role for Rooker?
What do you want?
We want to choose the role that we wish you could play. Like
Do you want to know the one I'd want to
Go ahead, I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Top Gun.
Danny Griffin!
I'd actually like to play Opie.
I imagine that as being like the most dark and gritty version of Mayberry. Like there's a new sheriff in town, and Andy ain't taking crack. Otis would be shot dead, first scene of the first episode.
And he wouldn't need one bullet. He'd use his bare hand.
He only carries one bullet, but he still uses his bare.
Right behind my back, I just heard Rosenbaum telling Gillan.
It was a television show that was on in the 70s.
It's American.
Karen, did you know it?
You didn't know it? You
No,
didn't know it?
I'm not American. I wasn't born.
It was.
She wasn't even born when that show was on.
You went with it. It was the show that made Ron Howard. So, yeah.
That's
Little Ronnie. Yeah.
Little Opie.
Oh.
Things got off the rails. We need another question.
Hi. I have been in body pain for the first time ever for 3 hours, and I already hate my life. How did you act through this?
And you're in blue right now, right?
Yeah. Our makeup team.
They're here.
And our makeup teams are here.
in the audience.
In the
Where are
audience.
you?
You guys want to
Put
stand
your
up?
hands up.
I think you want to stand up.
Give it up for the Guardians of the Galaxy makeup team!
Yeah, stand up. They're like, we are not standing up. There's no way we're standing up in this crowd. I gotta tell you, you forget it's on. I had no problem, no issues at all with it.
No, me neither. If anything, it helps me get into character. I just feel more like her when I have everything on. It's helpful.
Well, okay,
I
so,
know.
Michael, by comparison, when you're doing Rosenbaum, when you're doing like sort of the mocap, you've got the dots and everything on you. You think you've got like the easiest
job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just honestly, I walk in the makeup trailer and they just put dots on my face, and 5 minutes later I walk on set. It's better than the old days when I used to shave my head every day. But you you guys are hours in there, right?
You were like 2-3 hours, right?
Yeah, like 3.5 hours for everything.
Do you not get claustrophobic? Do you ever take a Xanax or something?
I've never taken Xanax before.
Well, it'll help you sleep. It's a good one.
Mine only took about 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours, maybe about an hour and a half to take off.
An hour and a half to take off.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, well, how long did it take?
like 20 minutes.
20 minutes?
Yeah, because we just take my face off. It's like a nice potion of some
Oh yeah,
sort.
you had prosthetic stuff. I had like actual paints and stuff. There were like
Layers of
6 layers of paints. And they weren't all blue. There was some flecks, silver or gold flecks in there. It was really cool. But it took quite a while.
Yeah. Cool. Well, hey, thanks makeup team out there for making these guys look good. Yeah. I mean, it's at least like that kind of cast where everybody can kind of commiserate if it is a long makeup day, because so many people had this like extensive makeup job. You know, I mean, you I guess were only like an hour probably to get on.
Yeah. I had some scars and stuff, but that's it. But yeah, it was nothing for me, but almost everyone else.
Yeah.
So Batista in some ways has it the worst because he's got his whole.
Yeah, he did have the worst, right? He took the longest, and he
But he has to get in
it
a
was the most
sauna at the end
difficult
of the
to
day
get
to get it
off.
off.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
it was really hard
with
to get off.
multiple men.
Yes.
Right here as well.
Batista had to do like a whole sauna at the end of the day with about 5 guys.
Really? We didn't know
Rubbing
that.
him all over and taking all that stuff. Yeah, he told me.
Never heard that second so all right. So there you go. Karen Gillan reveals Batista's 5 men.
Yeah, all you're gonna get.
You've seen Dave.
Yeah.
Takes 5.
I'm just glad I'm not one of those 5.
You're welcome, Internet. Next question.
So, what is one thing you would like to do or would have liked to do in the future of Guardians of the Galaxy?
Well, and again, they kind of have to tread carefully because anything they say seems like speculation on future movies or appearances, you know?
Oh, shut up.
All right, Rooker!
Well, we can just say we're making it up.
That's not how the internet works.
What would you like to see happen in Guardians of the Galaxy 15?
John, why don't you start?
It's true though. I don't.
You don't know what to say.
The thing I like about my job is that I don't have to think about that stuff. You know, it's like I let the fans worry about that, and I let the creative process sort of unfold the way that it should unfold naturally. So right now, my brother's somewhere working on the script, and eventually there will be, Marvel will get involved and the whole thing will start to come together. But I don't even think about it until it becomes something.
It's not really our job.
You start to worry about like wanting your character to do something, you're bound to be disappointed anyway. That's not really part of my job description, you know?
Yeah. Anyone else want to weigh in?
Well put.
No? Actually, I'm curious about, we've seen in the past with movies, the Star Wars prequels, where the use of like a lot of effects, a lot of CGI can make something feel very sanitized instead of like a lived-in world. Did you guys ever have any concerns initially about the fact that like with this heavy effects kind of thing, it wouldn't have heart?
No. No, not at all. I mean,
Because the script had so much heart, It's
Yeah.
there on the page, and then we just make.
then we got
it
James
life.
Gunn. We got Sean's brother. Describing everything that's going to happen.
But when you
it's
have
not there, it's just green screen. But
Yeah.
we get very good descriptive notes before we go on, and then in the middle of the scenes, he's like he'll like holler out something and
I think story comes first,
Stuff's
too.
exploding.
Yeah.
I think story, if you got a great story and you've got characters that are likable, you're winning. And people care. I think that's why people love the movie so much. A, because they really care about everyone.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at some plays without any backdrop whatsoever, I mean, you can be deeply moved by that, and that's literally just actors on nothing, so it's possible,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the point, is that it doesn't matter. It can be nothing or it can be everything, but it's not that it loses something by having effects or being effects driven. It's just if you have a good story to tell, it can I don't know, you can watch it.
And for the actor, I found that it brings us back to our base where you have to use your imagination a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's not there in front of you, you're not actually holding it. Although we did have a lot of hand props. We had some really cool hand props, so that was not an issue. But the environment sometimes was an issue. We had some realistic objects to work with, but we got to use our imagination. So that was very cool. I thought it was good.
Cool. All right, next question.
We're over here.
Hi.
Hello. First of all, my name's Liz. I'm from Decatur, Georgia, and I'm honored to be speaking to you guys right now. My question's for Michael Rooker. Both of your characters in Walking Dead and in Guardians of the Galaxy started off as very hardened, and I was just corrected that I can't say the A word, but jerks. But in the
You can't say a-holes?
I was told I couldn't, but
No, you better not say a-hole. I agree with that person with the mic. You're not allowed to say that.
But in the end, your characters came through in an amazing way and sacrificed themselves for their families and their loved ones. And I just want to know, how did that make you feel as an actor and as your character, and how that helped your development as the character, where they were these hard characters that suddenly, in the end, sacrificed themselves?
Well, we're always, as actors, I think we're always kind of looking for a through line. No matter how long or short your stay is going to be on a show or a TV show or a feature. So that's kind of what I try to find. And it doesn't always have to be something verbal or even physical. It could just be an internal thing. And that's kind of what I look for. And so when I read and I see this through line, it makes my job much easier when you have a writer like James Gunn writing this through line for you, which was awesome through line for this character. And so it just makes you, it makes you proud to be that role, to get a chance to bring that role to life. And when it works, it just works. Sometimes that's the magic. You don't know if it's going to work at all, but it did for both those characters, actually. Thank you. Good question.
Thank you so much, and your hat is amazing.
Thank you. You like the feather, though? That's an addition. I just got that today.
You pull it off.
What a
From a young
find.
lady, it was part of her headdress, and I traded her a selfie for the feather.
Okay.
We barter at my table, don't you worry, I'll just go.
And we have a question right up front here.
Hi. First, before I ask you the question, I'd like to thank you guys for your play in the Guardians of the Galaxy. You guys did such a wonderful job. So thank you very much for that. And the second part of this is a question. I know there's another Guardians of the Galaxy coming out, and you guys will have parts in it and stuff. But after Guardians of the Galaxy, where do you want to go from there?
So what kind of other roles and stuff that they want to
Yes.
tackle and pursue?
You have a great answer to that. Karen Gillan has an awesome answer for that. I can see it in her eyes.
Thank you for
Go
setting me
for
up
it.
for that.
Go for it.
I think that I would really love to direct something. That would be really cool and a dream come true. So maybe like some sort of fun movie or something. That would be cool. I'll pass all of you, including you, Adam.
I would like to continue with what I do and hopefully get another great role or two or three or four. And I never want to direct ever.
I'm actually surprised by that, Rooker, because like you've had such a wealth of characters in your career.
Yeah.
I would not want to be directed by you, but Sean.
Actually, yeah, it's a challenging job as
Yeah.
a director, and I tried it. I didn't like it very much. It was way too much work.
Yeah.
And it's like you are like, when you have to talk to actors.
Could you imagine getting direction by Rooker? What do you want me to do? Whatever. What do you think you should be doing?
Are you kidding me? That's exactly what I do. I mean, somebody, yeah. What do you think? Do it the way you want to do it, idiot. Now get the hell out there and go do it.
What are you asking me for?
I've had worse direction. Sean said he's had worse direction.
Yeah, right? Have you ever done a job, have you ever done a film that had two directors?
Yep.
The brothers deals or the sister director? That is the worst case scenario. You had a good experience?
Yeah, it's great.
Oh God, I hate it.
Awesome.
I hate it.
Yeah, they're nice, aren't they?
Oh, no. I never want to work with two directors.
I mean, but it really requires them being part of the same team and not adversarial, because some of those situations are like two directors that are sort of
They're conflicting.
Yeah.
That's what I experienced.
With the
Yeah, they
Russos,
do.
they like share a mind.
Well, they have been conflicting with each other more and more. But that's kind of good because they're offering up different ideas and then they'll reach a decision on which is the best one. So it's not
And
necessarily
then the actors
bad.
are doing it themselves the way they want to do it anyway.
And they're brothers, so they've learned how to like solve problems amongst themselves since they've been kids. So like,
Yeah.
I think it's good.
Well, there you have it.
Now I'll tell you what sucks though is when if you've ever done a commercial. You guys ever do commercials?
Oh,
where you have like the client and the
Producer,
and the directors and the production companies disagreeing with what they
Oh, no.
The whispering in the ears.
That's the worst. Yeah.
I don't know. You're like, what do you don't know what to do. They don't know what to do.
Yeah, it's the worst.
It is so confusing sometimes for the actor and for the performers. It's really a rough situation.
All right. Cool.
I'm glad you guys had a good one with those dual brother things. What? No! I turned those down right away. Forget it. No
The
double.
Coen brothers.
Really, Spielberg and Howard are directing something together.
I don't care who it is. It could be the Coen brothers. I don't care.
You're not
No, not interested. Thank you.
All right. Rooker's turning down jobs up here.
I know, the Coen brothers were just picking up the phone to offer him a film role. They heard this, they're like, oh,
I guess, yeah.
I'm just trying to play hard to get, for God's sake. The Coen brothers are going to call me tonight.
All directors used rotary dials.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. Get me Michael Rooker. Yes, Mr. Goldwyn.
Well, in Mayberry, they still use the operator like that. Yeah.
Andy Griffith, Karen.
It was a show in the 80s.
Last year it came
days.
I think it has a different connotation now, though.
What is this party like?
I don't know either, Karen.
I think everyone's phone rang or some shit like that, right?
Yeah.
And you pick up, or you'd have a certain code for your phone, but your neighbor could pick up their phone and listen to your conversation. That was what it was. That was what it was like.
That's really weird.
Yeah. I think we need to pitch, like Michael Rooker explains telecom industry. Next DragonCon. Rooker was early 20th century.
Was this back in the 1900s when you were a boy?
That is true. We had a party live.
Another question.
Hi there. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. And,
Oh, so you're
Already.
and I was just wanted to ask a question to those who are in Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Was there any indication that your character would be getting such a complex emotional arc in Guardians of the Galaxy 2? And for Michael, are there indications that your character will be getting a complex arc as well?
Well, again, that's like a spoilery question that I'm gonna.
A yes or no will be fine for Michael, but the
I
other
think
ones...
they mean the first one.
Well,
right?
first one you can speak to,
And the second.
and you're just dismissed from the question, I guess.
You don't get to answer this, Rosenbaum.
Get out.
no idea.
We had no idea. We didn't even know there was going to be a second one at that point in time. You know, we don't.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I think we would have been very happy to know that there was going to be a second movie at least. But yeah, I think at least from my perspective, I didn't know exactly who, Kraglin is really just kind of texture in the first movie, and it's such a smaller role. And I didn't even really know exactly who that character was really until I saw the movie, because we played things so many different ways. And so, yeah, it wasn't really until later that I sort of had some sense of who that character was, not really until the second movie.
I mean, my character was supposed to die at the end of the first Guardians, in the first draft of the script that I read. And then that got rewritten, and then we reshot it, and then we reshot it again. So I didn't know what was going to happen to Nebula, but I was very happy to find out what did happen.
For Yandu, I mean, James described the role to me before the script, and things that would happen in the first in Guardians of the Galaxy, and then we eventually got the script, and I went through the script, and lo and behold, everything that he told me was absolutely in the script, and we shot. And the good thing with working with James is that when you see it on the script on the page, that's usually what you shoot, and it works great, and that's kind of. So when I actually read the script, I already knew what I thought was going to happen, because that's what he told me. But when I read it and it actually ended up coming true, I was like, oh wow, that's good, that's great.
Yeah, he definitely thinks ahead of
Even
stuff.
to the
Like
last moment.
he talked to me about your character, like during the first one, he would mention things about how he had thoughts about plans for bigger things in the second movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
So
things that we
things like that.
talk about for Yandu as backstory and sometimes inner thoughts and stuff ended up being in the second one, coming to fruition in the second. So very cool to have that going on in the back of your mind as James Gunn, as you're filming the first one or writing the first one, and still have the ideas for a second one, and not knowing if there's ever even going to be a second one.
Yeah.
He still had it planned out. Not exactly the way it came out, but I don't know. I would think it's pretty damn close.
Well, I would say for especially Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is a movie that did really have such heart. And it's funny because you're watching this big spectacle blockbuster, superhero and space movie, and then you've got stories about fathers and sons, and it speaks to a lot of people in the scripts. Do you ever have this moment you're like, man, where did this come from? This is impressive stuff, but also where did this come from?
You mean for specifically in regards to.
Just like, I mean, when are you ever impressed about like the stuff he's doing, but also, yeah, we're getting some feedback. But also like surprised about the kind of the emotional strings that he can pull out of these scripts.
Well, I mean, I'm never really that surprised by anything my brother does, really, because he's really good, and he's been really good for a long time. So I tend to, I get, I don't know, I get hints sometimes about where the characters are going and what direction things are being pushed. I don't know. I was certainly very pleasantly surprised by the emotional thrust that my character had in the second movie.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, next question.
Hello, this question is for Karen. You will be making your directorial debut next year, or writer-director debut next year.
No, I already did this year.
Oh, sweet. So what is the unique artistic voice that you want to bring to the film world as a writer-director?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, no pressure.
Now you're asking. I mean, I hope that I can bring a unique voice to anything. I don't know. I guess I just want to tell stories that I'm passionate about. I don't really come at it from the angle of trying to be original or unique. I don't know. I would like to make powerful, moving things. I like David Lynch. I mean, if I could be anywhere near that, that would be lovely. Yeah, something weird and intense and maybe quite bleak and dark, because I like stuff like that.
Who were some directors that you kind of watched and took notes on? Right? Like,
Stanley Kubrick is my favorite.
Yeah. I mean, what about some that you've actually worked with? Like,
oh, right. Well, James is amazing. The way he talks to actors is brilliant, and he writes his own stuff, so that's great. Who else? I really liked a director called James Ponsoldt, who did a film called The Circle that I was in. Yeah, I mean, everyone. I can learn something from everyone that I work with, and that's the beauty of being an actor, just getting to see so many people and see the ways that they work, and basically steal the best parts of everyone.
Michael Rosenbaum, I'm curious, because you worked, obviously, on Smallville, great series. And that just barely predated before all of the insane shared universe cinematic stuff was taking place. Did you ever kind of see this path, like this kind of interconnected film franchise happening when you were working on Smallville, that this would be the world that we were operating in genre just a couple of years later?
Well, that's a tough one. I mean, you never expect anything. I think when Smallville came out, it was kind of the beginning of like a lot of comic book shows. I mean, it was like one of the first. What else was there before that? Like the comic book style movies sort of shot. Like
of that wave, it was.
Yeah, and then everything started happening, and I don't think anybody could expect how big it got. And just, I mean, you look on TV now, and it's like after Smallville, it was Arrow, Flash, Gotham, and then all these movies that just came out, and it's wonderful because it's such an amazing universe, and it's just endless. Because when you think they can't do anything else. I mean, I didn't know what Guardians of the Galaxy was. When somebody said Guardians of the Galaxy, I go, well, what is that? Mm-hmm. And now it's the biggest movie on the planet. So you just never can expect that. But it's a treat to be a part of.
Yeah,
that's all I can say. That's a tough question.
I know. And it's just interesting because just a short amount of time, a couple of years, the genre has just changed so much and expanded so quickly that it's fascinating because you guys were amongst the first wave of this modern part of the genre. So.
Yeah, and I wasn't a big comic book guy. I didn't get in. I was into horror movies like you. I loved scary movies. My mom made me watch Alien when I was like 8 years old, and I never slept. Good for I'm kind of crazy. Yeah. That's kind of who I was. And so, I mean, I went to comic book or horror conventions to meet like directors and things like that, and that was my nerdery.
Yeah.
And this is crazy. I never thought I'd be Lex Luthor or one of the Ravagers from Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. It's insane to think of.
Let's take another question.
Hi, this is for Michael Rosenbaum. I'm a big fan of the podcast. I'm excited to be with Michael Rosenbaum.
Excited to be with Michael Rosenbaum. Thank you.
And I was wondering, of your fellow panelists, any plans to have any of them on, or who else here at DragonCon?
Well, Sean's already agreed to be on my podcast, and James as well, James. Karen, Michael Rooker.
Yeah.
No.
Rooker, I've known you forever.
Dude, that was perfect. Really? That worked out exactly the way you wanted it to work out.
I was gonna like it. It's fun to do it in my living room when we really open up and I get to know people. Like, it's fun. Everybody says they're friends in Hollywood. Oh, I'm friends with him. I know him. But then I talk to people that I think I know, and within an hour, I'm like, holy shit, I have no idea who you are. So it's really interesting, and it's therapy for me. And then I get to find out where they started, and like, I'd love to know, Rooker, what you were like as a teenager or a kid, busting your mom's chop. I mean, just the shit you got into. I mean, what were you watching, like Goodbye Emmanuel? As like what were you doing, man?
I was a good boy.
Thank you for being inside of me with Michael Rosenbaum. That's been Michael Rooker.
That's like a free preview right there, yeah. Let's take another question.
Alright, so I really like watching the behind the scenes, like the bloopers and stuff in movies, so I was wondering what your guys' favorite, moment on the set and stuff was.
Favorite moment on set? That's a tough one. I mean, you're working on these things for a long time.
What about the time when you flashed everyone when they were rehearsing? Well, if you don't remember, Rooker, you displayed your bare bottom to Palm and Dave Bautista when they were rehearsing a very emotional scene. Palm was in full tears. She was crying, and then she looked over and she saw that.
And she cried harder.
They deserved it. They were really working hard at this emotional moment in the piece, and I was up next, so I was out on the outside the room waiting for my time to go in, and I was like peeking in, and I saw they were really, emotionally, it was moving. And they were crying and almost hugging, and it was just, it moved me. And so I decided to help them break out of that emotional turmoil by showing how, in all honesty, it was only half an ass. It was one of those high school gymnasiums with the little thin glasses by the door. So it wasn't a full moon. It wasn't a full moon. It was only like half moon. It was like 3/4 moon. And I think it broke them out of their moment. And the next day I came back, they had brown paper taped up. Wait a minute.
That was so funny.
James put brown paper over the glass so that I couldn't disturb anybody anymore.
It's probably like a line item in the budget of Guardians of the Galaxy, brown paper, Rooker ass.
That was an interesting moment. Yes, that was an interesting moment. It was a spur of the moment thing. It was like one of those things like, you don't plan it. It's not planned out or anything. It's just like, what the hell? Those what the hell moments, and everybody has them.
But nobody acts on it.
Yes. No, that's not true.
I do.
Many actors have acted on that moment in our past, in our history as in Hollywood. I think go back and
I love that he has to explain that it was spur of the moment.
Yeah.
Like
Premeditated.
the alternative is that he's like, I know what I'm going to do when we get to rehearsals. I'm going to show my ass.
Gonna do this?
I can't wait. It's like a month before we start.
I'm painting my ass blue.
It was in his calendar for that day.
Oh, is that today?
You guys did not know this, but your brother and I conspired to paint my ass blue in the scene where I'm up on the window. And he wanted me to turn around and moon
I saw you standing alone.
About it, and I ended up being the adult. And I decided to I know, right?
There's a first for everything, I guess.
You just didn't want to sit in the sauna with Batista to get that shit off.
And all of his men.
But Lou, if you're still out there, we were actually very deeply having a serious conversation about having my ass painted blue. I think you and Scotty would have enjoyed that.
I like, and the makeup people that are in the audience are like, thank God.
You just said no because you didn't want everyone to see your tattoo of James's face on you.
Yeah, there are some funny things we do sometimes.
I think on that very weird and blue note, we are out of time for the panel. I know. But on that note, DragonCon, you're awesome. Give it up for these guys. Michael Rosenbaum, Gillan, Michael Rooker. Aaron.
Ready when you are.